All right, it is 4:30. Going to call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Dorothy, would you take roll, please?
Yes, sir.
Garrett Harmon,
Here.
Tricia Byram, David Jones,
Here.
Rustin Zuber,
Here.
David Lipscomb,
Here.
Cliff Tuttle.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. All right, first item on the agenda is a consent agenda. All items listed below on the consent agenda are considered routine or ministerial in nature and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item 1A is approval of the minutes from the December 5th meeting. Commissioners, did you have any questions or clarifications?
I'd just like to comment that I've read down through it. It's a recollection that it pretty well matches my memory, which is not always spot on. But we did have a lot of emotion, a lot of points that were made, and that's. Are you very totally comfortable that we got most of it? Because I see this as a basis for what City Council is going to have to look at in their ongoing negotiations.
Right. So what staff did was go through and try to hit the points that were made. Obviously, these are not verbatim minutes for those details. The meeting was recorded, and it is live. The video is live on the website.
Right.
So for further detail, you can find them there. But
all right. One other point of irritation, as a River Hill resident, it's River Hill. It's singular. In several places, it's mentioned as. It's presented as River Hills, which is incorrect. So if you could make those, there, I've found 2 or 3. If you go down through there and make those corrections, please.
we'll do.
I don't have anything else.
And there was one item on page 8, at the bottom of the page. Unidentified woman asked why it changed zoning. Mr. Kamick said it has to do with mainly with topography. The average lot size is 4.4 acres. I'm not sure that 4.4 acres is correct.
I agree.
I don't know if he misspoke or if it just wasn't clear on the audio.
Yeah, we'll check back on the audio and correct that.
I would check that lot size. Anything else, commissioners? If not, do I hear a motion?
I move we accept the minutes as presented with those changes.
All right, I have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Item 1B is election of officers. Our fearless leader, Bob Waller, has moved on to a much more relaxed position, and we appreciate everything that he did for this commission. That leaves us with needing to elect a new chairman and a new vice chairman. Are there any nominations?
I nominate you, Mr. Harmon, as the chairman.
All right, appreciate that.
So I'll second that.
And we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. I will do my best to uphold the standards that chairmen have in the past have held, and I'm honored. Thank you. Now I need to elect a vice chair.
I nominate Rustin Zuber as vice chair.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a nomination, a motion, and a second for Rustin Zuber to be vice chair. All in favor, raise your right hand. Yeah, motion carries 5-0. All right. Moving on, public hearing and consideration and action. Item 2A, we have a public hearing for a planned development district. Drew, could you give us some info on that?
Thank you, Chairman. It says public hearing, consideration, and action. The City of Kerrville to annex into its incorporated limits with zoning classification of planned development district. Approximately 34.89 acres. We've got an updated survey. out of the BS&F Survey Number 1, Certificate 1589, Abstract Number 77, consisting of the property generally located at 2700 Fredericksburg Road. That is the current USDA campus just outside the city limits. With that, I'll turn it over to the applicant and finish the staff report after that.
All right, thank you.
Beto, can you hear me? Okay. Yes, you're on speaker.
Okay.
You're confirming,
Yeah.
just confirm, you're just confirming that that we are requesting annexation.
That's correct. This is Dr. Can they hear me?
Can you hear him at all?
No.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and make the statement, Beto, and we'll address questions if necessary. Hold on just a minute. Hi, I'm Sherry Brown. I'm the Administrative Officer for the U.S. Department of Agriculture Research Service at 2700 Fredericksburg Road in Kerrville, Texas. I'm here in support of our petition that's before this honorable board to confirming that, yes, we are requesting annexation into the city of Kerrville, and also to confirm that we are in a concurrent with the zoning that the city has proposed.
Okay.
Going through our usual recommendations as far as the staff analysis. This property is in strategic catalyst area number 6 of the Kerrville 2050 comprehensive plan, which notes an expansive residential and industrial uses are present in the northwestern area. Although the property is largely consisting of public and institutional use, this is relatively industrial, as she mentioned, agriculture research facility. It is consistent with the Kerrville 2050 plan. Going through the listed uses in the planned development district, this is covering all of the facilities and all of the services that they do and functions that they operate currently today and will continue to operate. But just matching those up to our typical land use plan, there is not an existing zoning district that captures all of that. So their functions do consist, of course, of agriculture services, agriculture in general for raising the livestock. They do operate a machine shop, their offices, parking lot. It is a public and institutional facility. Veterinary services for large animals with both indoor and outdoor pens. They do have a welding shop. They do have breeding and maintaining of colonies of insects and ticks, which are livestock pests, which is what they're doing their research on. Storage of laboratory research chemicals and agricultural pesticides, and an on-site incinerator. There is no impact to the thoroughfare plan as it is an existing facility on a state highway, and staff recommends the request for your approval. I'd be pleased to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
All right, let's go ahead and open the public hearing. It is 4:38. We open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to comment regarding this proposal, please step forward, state your name and address. Thank you, Bruce.
Bruce Drakey, 615 Earl Garrett. I just had a question about annexation coming into the city and the plans for utilities going to this property. You know, typically when we annex something in, we then extend that across the property. And I'm just curious about clarification on how the water and sewer is getting extended into the property. Maybe somebody could respond to that.
Okay, that's typically what happens.
And USDA is proposing an extension of water and sewer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact location of the current facilities, but they are going to extend that north along Highway 16 to their property and to the edge of their property for any future extensions.
Okay, very good.
My name's Trey Atkinson. My address is 216 Lakewood Drive here in Kerrville. And forgive me if my questions are very simple, but the USDA is proposing the annexation themselves. And is that correct?
I believe so.
Yes.
And then what is the benefit to the USDA to have this property annexed? Because it's my understanding it's gonna remain in the same form, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the facility cannot tie on to water and sewer without either annexation or a development agreement with the City of Kerrville. Based on conversations with staff and administration, it was best to move forward with an annexation rather than just doing a service agreement. So they are petitioning annexation to tie on to city services.
Trey, does that answer your question?
Thank you.
And the cost will be borne by
USDA. They're going
the
to be,
entire extension and?
yes.
Okay.
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 Any other questions, comments? Okay. At 4:41, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any questions, concerns?
USDA is tax exempt, correct?
I'm sorry?
They're a tax exempt organization,
Yes, as a government agency, they are.
but what the city gets out of it is the extension of the utilities.
The extension of utilities and the acreage of the property that impacts our water rights through headwaters and UGRA.
And I know that they're planning an expansion and a rebuild on some of their buildings. Will that be, I guess, a site development plan will be issued and emergency vehicle access will be addressed
Yeah,
for that?
Being a federal agency, they are exempt from some city regulation.
Okay,
So that'll be something we'll work through on those projects,
okay,
whether it's emergency access or whatever the case is.
okay.
3 land uses that were not permitted under any zone. This is a PD, so that doesn't allow others to do those things, correct? I mean, that's obviously.
That's
those are
correct. It is,
Only for the USDA.
that is correct.
All right. Commissioners, any other questions or concerns? Do we have a motion on this item?
Make a motion that we annex the property as presented and have the zoning classification of a planned development district.
All right, we have a motion. And Mr. Tuttle seconds. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Item 2B, public hearing and consideration on a variance for the sign code.
Thank you, sir. Public hearing, consideration action, considering a variance request in accordance with Chapter 92, the sign code of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas, to allow the relocation of an existing projecting sign with 210 square feet of sign area, 30 feet in height, and 22 feet above the top of the wall, and to allow a new sign, projecting sign, to be internally illuminated for the Arcadia Theater located at 717 Water Street. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant to present the case.
Open it up for public.
Good
Oh, yes.
afternoon.
Larry, give me just a second.
Certainly.
At 4:44, open the public hearing. Oh, well, no, we're not at a public hearing yet. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. My name's Larry Howard, 503 Oakland Hills Lane here in Kerrville. I'm the president of the Fourth on the River, the current owner of the Arcadia Theater across the street at 717 Main Street. As you may be aware, there's a construction going on over there at the theater. David Martin has drawn some great plans, and we've got contractors over there remodeling the building as we speak. In our plan, we would like to be able to move the existing Arcadia neon sign that you see on your screen, which measures 210 square feet if you take it as its whole. It's a neon sign, and it projects from the building. It's currently 22 feet above the wall and sticks out a little more than 6 feet. During the renovation of Arcadia, we're gonna change the entire facade on the front back to the mission style as it originally was in 1928. So it'll have the stone facade. Thank you. Just keep going to them. The stone facade with the balcony railing and windows as it was. And there originally was a blade sign up there that looked like this. This is the best we can do off the photographs Joe Herring has shared with us. This is the new sign that will go on the front of the building, and it will be compliant to the new sign code that we just did a few months back. With the exception of the internally lit letters, the Arcadia, ARCIDA, will be cut out with a clear plastic and it will be illuminated from the back. So that's the variance we're asking for this sign. And the current sign will go on the rear of the building over the patio. That sign will be taken down, hauled to San Antonio, rebuilt, redone with new new ballast or transformers and a newer neon tube that burns much less energy and also doesn't have just that super glowing effect that the old neon did. It'll come back from San Antonio, be lifted up and hauled and put on the rear of the building, and that's the variance we're requesting on that sign. It will stick above the building 22 feet. It's 30 foot in overall length. And the other variance was the mount is going to stick up above the parapet of the wall. So we've left the sign where it is, seeking your approval to have these variances granted. And that will allow us to remove the sign. We don't want to remove it before we find out if we can put it back up after it's rebuilt. If you did not grant the variance, the sign will be rebuilt in place and turned back on where it is. It's kind of hidden by the trees. I think it would be a lot better view from the river access in the park off the back of this rear patio. That's basically what we're trying to do. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Yes, sir.
One elevation shows the Arcadia sign kind of pointing towards the river, and the other one shows it pointing, like a rear elevation, shows it pointing to the other direction.
Yeah, it'll actually go on the corner of the building at a 45-degree angle. So it'll sit 45 degrees off the building, down between the Arcadia Theater and the old Shriner Bank building, which is now owned by Fasken Oil. There'll be a long patio deck back there. So when you come from the gates on the street, you'll be able to see the Arcadia sign at the back, and then on the deck, you'll see it up and down the boardwalk.
But the front sign, it'll be,
Front sign will be
right,
projection off the building, 16 feet tall, 2 feet wide, 32 square feet, in accordance with the ordinance. It won't stick out from the wall more than 6 feet. It'll be at least 6'8" off the ground.
and it's backlit, and what's the color? What will be the color of the letters?
The letters will be white, an off-white. The actual sign color, we're trying to find, Mr. Mosty over at Mosty's Garage says he remembers it being a deep blood red. So we're trying to find some other people that know what color that original sign was, but that's probably where it's leaning towards.
But the light itself, there'll be no lens on the, I mean, it'll be backlit.
It'll be backlit.
With
There will be a clear
cut
lens.
out.
Cut out, yeah. The letters will be cut out of the metal sign.
Right, yes.
And then there'll be plastic on the inside, an opaque plastic, and it'll be backlit from there. So there'll be no visible bulbs.
What about motion on the neon sign?
The motion on the neon sign is not permitted by the new code, and a variance can't be granted for that. So that new neon sign will have no moving parts to it at all.
The bulbs on the new sign out front, I see non-blinking, non-moving. So
Non-blinking, non-moving LED bulbs that'll surround the outside. Very similar to the Charles Shriner sign that hangs on the back of the Shriner building or off the corner at Water and Earl Garrett.
will those have any color to them?
No, they'll be clear bulbs.
And it's more energy efficient neon is,
The new neon
back,
is,
yeah.
yes, sir. The new neon is much more energy. The transformers make the biggest difference than the old ones.
right,
So-
electronic transfer, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Drew?
Going through our criteria and findings, the variance request has been made based on the reuse of the existing projecting sign. This sign will be relocated to the rear of the building to help create a river-facing front for that portion of the building. The literal enforcement of the sign code would not allow the reuse of this existing sign, nor would it allow the new projecting sign to be internally illuminated. As Mr. Howard said, the new sign meets the current sign code except that internal illumination. So it would have to just be either painted or cut out, but not backlit as they're proposing for those individual letters. The request is not contrary to the public interest nor a detriment to the public welfare of the area downtown, and the project is a reinvestment into the existing property as provided, or to provide as a catalyst in the downtown area. The request is in support of the objectives of the Kerrville 2050 plan. Again, the reinvestment into downtown is one of the catalyst areas of the Kerrville 2050 plan. The request is the minimum necessary to achieve the objective for the renovation of the theater. It is based on the existing sign and the desire to reuse this historic icon on the property and create that riverfront that you would see from the park and the river alike. The request is not based on the subdivision of the property, nor any self-imposed circumstances. It does not make the property more valuable or profitable. It does not modify or repeal any development regulations. It does not constitute a zoning change, and only affects these specific signs as requested. And the signs are not otherwise prohibited by the sign code. And with that, I'd be pleased to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
Thank you, Drew. All right, at 4.
Oh,
Do you have something before I?
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. All right, explain to me one more time. This sign will be a metal sign, cut out, and with lights interior to it.
Correct.
No lenses on the cutout, just be exposed to the weather.
No, it will have lenses.
We call this the new blade sign. So if we look at the old photographs, so the piece of metal, they'll actually cut the A out.
Right.
On the inside, there'll be an opaque piece of plastic.
Okay, all
It'll
right.
be internally lit here, shining through that plastic.
Exactly.
So you will not, it'll be protected from the weather, and you won't see any visible lighting shining through.
Yeah, because you never get the angle right. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the
I'm sorry.
The original sign did have that set up?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Drew. All right, at 4:52, I'll open the public hearing. With anyone wishing to comment, please step forward. I do have a speaker request form from Mr. William Rector. Please state your name and address for the record.
William Rector, 705 Water Street. I am a close neighbor. I received this sign notice of public hearing from you because of the proximity of the property. And I thank you, gentlemen, for your service on this important committee. I come before you today encouraging you to approve this variance request for 3 reasons. First, the current sign is antique. It has been in place for over 70 years. It's been a part of downtown, and it deserves to be preserved and kept in downtown. Secondly, the replacement sign is a design of the original Arcadia sign and is in keeping with true historic restoration, and that should be encouraged. Thirdly, there is a precedence for approval of this variance. Just behind this city hall, across the plaza, is the restored Shriner Building sign, which hangs on the back side of the Shriner Building. There is a restored sign also on the front of the Shriner Building, which is on Water Street, the same as the blade sign will be. The Shriner sign behind this building will be visible from Sidney Baker, just as this sign on the back of the Arcadia will be visible from Sidney Baker. So I think there is precedence for approving this variance, and I encourage you to positively consider encouraging this variance and approving this so that the Arcadia restoration can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to comment? Please step forward. Seeing no one step forward, we'll close the public hearing at 4:55. Commissioners, any questions? I think it's a great idea to reuse that existing sign. It has become a iconic part of downtown, and I think that in its new location, it may even be seen more now from the park, from the Sidney Baker Bridge, where it is on downtown right now. It's starting to get obscured with some trees and just the narrow views. So I think it'll also kind of highlight the new addition to the back of this. It's going to really open things up and really let patrons enjoy the river and the views. So I think it's a great idea. Do we have a
Motion to approve is requested.
I have a motion to approve. We have a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. All right. Item 3 is staff reports.
The only thing I have for you is we do have a case already submitted for our February meeting. So keep that one on your calendar and we'll get that information out to you shortly.
All right.
That's it.
No mid or late January meeting as of yet.
No, that's correct. Not as of yet. The code review committee meets at the end of January. So if we get anything out of the code review committee, may bring it onto that second meeting in February or March, just
Okay.
depending upon how it comes out of the committee.
Okay. Very well. Commissioners, any other thoughts or comments? All right. Meeting is closed at 4:57.